Welcome everyone to the 2022 WBE Diet Challenge. This is going to be a blast, guys. I got a nice little presentation for you guys. We still got people popping in. Welcome to everybody hopping in late here for this call. It's all good. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Odysseus. I have a little PowerPoint presentation and we're going to dive right into that. Let me pull up my screen share here. All right, you guys, let me just get everything adjusted here. Can you guys all see my screen? Yes, maybe a little bit. We're good. Cool. So before we get started, I want to say thank you so much to Leslie for having me do this diet challenge. All these diet challenges, it's an absolute pleasure to support you guys, to be your guide. The watching you guys and the results that you get is really inspiring to me. That last diet challenge, you guys really impressed me. We lost like 230 pounds in 6 weeks. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you guys blew me away. Like, my goal was like 150 and we lost 230 pounds. So give yourselves a nice little applause. Very proud of you. Excellent job. Thank you so much for that. You guys are making me look really good. So let's see if we can beat that. Who knows? You know, we got to get a bunch of people signed up. But before we get into all that, I'm going to go over the diet challenge at the end here. The goal here today, the WBE, still got people coming in. WBE Diet Challenge 2022, accessing our highest potential. So today's agenda, providing you the tools for optimal health and performance. I'm going to go over briefly who I am, for if there's anybody new here who doesn't know me. For those of you that forgot who I am, I hope you haven't. I've been working with you guys for a few years now. We're going to go over some tools for mental and emotional health. Very important right now with COVID going on, even if it's not just for you, but maybe supporting people that you know. We're going to go over some trauma, shadow work, and some Taoist philosophy. I was actually chatting with Rich right before everybody else got on here. He's into some Eastern wisdom himself, so pretty cool. Then we go over how to apply these tools and how to enhance your success. And then we'll go over the diet challenge details. And the diet challenge details, it's pretty much going to be the same as last time because we were so successful. It's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? So we're just going to keep rocking the same way that we have been doing it. Welcome to anybody who's just jumping in right now. I'm still letting people in on the call. So who am I? We're going to do this quick. Odysseus Andrianos, 20,000 hours of coaching, over 20 years. Terralinda High School grad, born and raised here in the Bay. Got my degree in kinesiology from San Diego State University with an emphasis in fitness, nutrition, and health. Make sure you're muted if you're jumping on the call late. Recently, I got certified as a trauma coach. I'm starting to do a lot of deeper work with clients. I'm doing more life coaching, trauma coaching, and I'm still doing some fitness and diet coaching as well too. Please mute your.
I'm on with Odie now. We'll grab you later. Okay.
Leslie, mute your screen. So
sorry, that was me. Yeah. Laura's trying to be in.
Okay, cool. No worries. I still love you. It's all good. So my new thing is trauma, shadow work, and Taoist healing. So I'm blending, essentially, my vision is the future of health, healing, and medicine is blending Eastern and Western philosophy. So we're going to go over some of these new, actually old tools that I'm blending to support you guys on your best performance. So the whole goal here essentially is what I'm doing is I'm teaching you how to become your own healer. Now, what does it mean to become your own healer? It means to make whole. That's what heal means. And essentially, if you're like, you can't become your own healer, there's always skeptics out there. So the placebo effect is actually direct scientific evidence that you can become your own healer. If you guys have ever heard of a amazing guy named Dr. Joe Dispenza, there's going to be a book sales call too. I'm going to be sharing all kinds of books with you guys. Dr. Joe Dispenza he has a book actually called You Are the Placebo. So essentially, some of the tools I'm sharing with you guys is to show you how to become your own healer. And your diet is the foundation for becoming your own healer. So I'm going to blend how all this works, specifically with your mind and your emotions, and how you can become your own healer with your diets. Okay. Nice little picture of me out here. And I was in Long Beach, California, at the Sunken City. And my nickname, Obi-Wan Kenobi. My dad actually worked on Revenge of the Jedi. If you guys didn't know that little fun fact about me. Now, let's talk about shadow work and my specific journey. So it's good to just talk about what came up for me, what really got me into shadow work and this deeper work that's really helping a lot of my newer clients that I'm doing with shadow work and life coaching get faster results in less time, okay? So the key is to acknowledging my unconscious mind. So for me, the first step, or for you too, is to realize, where are you asleep? When I work with people, even years ago, with their diet, and now specifically working with the mind and the emotions, the key to ask yourself is, where are you asleep? Where are you unconscious? Okay. And for me, just to share my own story, is I was running my gym. I was running a gym with you guys. I was running my own film studio. I was running an Airbnb. I was running an online business. And I was running so many businesses, and I was making great money, and I was helping lots of people. It felt really good. I was blinded by my own busyness. going to say that again, blinded by my own busyness. What I was really doing was ignoring my shadow, repressed, suppressed emotions and my emotional pain. Okay. Now my realization of that allowed me to actually heal. But as I got in there, okay, I began to like realize what my personal stuff was. I had anger, I had fear and abandonment. And realizing that allowed me to heal in amazing ways. Now, my anger, my fear, and my abandonment, like I said, my father worked in Hollywood when I was a child. He was actually George Lucas's sound mixer for many years. And he was gone a lot. And as a child, I didn't understand why. So I had these unconscious emotions, anger, fear, and specifically abandonment. And those were actually like forcing me to not look at those. I was keeping myself so busy running all these businesses that was actually affecting my health. I had back pain that was showing up. I was actually working with Dr. Doug DeSalvo, Leslie's same chiropractor. And he started like, look at my body. And he was like, well, according to this, you have this abandonment thing. And my ego was like, bro, you don't know me. You don't know my emotions. And I was like, well, I can just see it in your body. And that was kind of the beginning of me getting more curious about Eastern philosophy and understanding like how your body can actually be like a roadmap to show what's going on in your mind, what actually has happened in your past, because that can actually be the root cause of your pain. And this will make more sense as I go through more of these slides in this presentation. Now, my question for you guys, so you get curious, is to ask yourself, what emotions could you be suppressing, repressing, and denying? Because that could be actually the root cause of some of your disease and what, or your diet where you're struggling. You could be sabotaging yourself through your diet because you're feeding those repressed emotions. Very key point here. Let's keep rocking. Oh yeah, another picture of me, shadow picture representing the shadow work. So, and then we got trauma and shadow work, the unconscious guide. So this is like super crucial right here. Trauma, what happens is we have a traumatic experience in our childhood. It could be mental, physical, emotional abuse, something like that, abandonment like I experienced. What trauma does, it makes us take the road behind us, put it in front of us, and call it the future. Okay? What happens is life seeks to digest the unintegrated past by recreating it in the future. So if you haven't taken the time to heal something that happened in your past, like example, say you had like a family member pass away, you didn't take the proper time to grieve. That grief could be suppressed or repressed, and it's actually running your life. So you're like, why do I keep eating a certain way? Because you haven't allowed yourself to really feel that grief. Okay. And then we're going to talk more about how it relates to your nervous system as well. But we are unable to create an authentic future until we are done creating the past. Okay. And this can also be generational too. Sometimes these repressed and suppressed emotions are passed down from generation to generation. And like like I said, I'm going to be showing you guys a lot of books today. There's this amazing book, like one of the top books I've ever read on trauma. It's called The Body Keeps the Score. I highly, highly recommend this book. There's a doctor who was very deep in therapy and psychological practice. And then he started realizing that it's like the body is actually a map to what's going on in the mind. The more you suppress the emotions, the more it's going to show up in certain areas of the body. And so as he started to realize that, he found different ways of helping to support people to heal. And like I said, this relates to your diet because you could be unconsciously feeding those repressed and suppressed emotions. Now, why does this happen? It's because we become unconsciously loyal to the familiarity or comfort from toxic relationships. And this is where it gets embedded in our nervous system. And what I mean by the unconsciously loyal, you may have had like a belief system passed down from generation to generation, like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of love, or something like that. And that'll actually, yeah, I will send a book list out later. I've literally been thinking like I need to start just being a book salesman because I'm selling so many books. So thank you for that comment, Joe. But the key thing is like, so you're unconsciously loyal, right? Like here's a perfect example. Like I read it in this book right here. It's like, so you can have a parents or your grandparents use shame to control your parents, and then your parents use shame to control you, and they literally shamed you to death. And that's actually an example where you'll actually grow up and you will seek out shame in your relationships, but you'll do it from a completely unconscious state. What I mean by unconscious, it's like Mike Tyson punched you out and you're walking around like knocked out, unconscious, like trying to live your life. And so like I'm saying that as a joke, but you're unconsciously trying to live the best life you can, but you have these repressed and suppressed emotions that are actually guiding your life from below the surface in your mind. If you listen to some of my past presentations, I've used my story of the boat where there's the stuff going on below the surface. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. The stuff unconsciously could be running your life and you're not even aware of it. And this isn't even just you. You could be doing this work and realizing it, but it could be people that you love as well. I always say that the end goal of shadow work is that as you integrate your repressed emotions, you're going to be able to start seeing it in other people, because people will unconsciously relive their traumas through you if they're not aware. You could be triggering other people unconsciously. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about the nervous system. Now, the nervous system, the future of healing, health, and medicine. Okay, specifically the nervous system, it's the future is your nervous system and your emotions, because the more deeply embedded those emotions are, the more you're going to affect your nervous system. The more that affects your nervous system, the more deeply it's going to embed those emotions. They work hand in hand. That's literally going to be the future of health and healing and medicine. A lot of these like coaches coming out these days, therapists, they're actually talking about doing breath work, doing meditation. I've shared some breath work exercises with some of you guys. Leslie does meditation work with me. I've done breath work with some of you guys in the past. I know I said that twice, but the whole goal here is to calm down your nervous system and get you really embodied, and that allows you to rest. Now, the key thing here is to realize our mind is not just in our heads, it's our entire nervous system in sensory perception. Trauma literally has the ability to change our nervous system. I'm going to say that again. Trauma literally has the ability to change our nervous system. We could be unconsciously addicted to our suffering. Okay, this is not just my opinion. Like I've been aware of this, but when I read in the books, I'm like, oh my God, it's so true. What happens is you get elevated cortisol levels. This is really crucial right now with COVID going on, because elevated cortisol levels consistently over time weakens your immune system. So you're more susceptible to being sick. This is why when you're taking downtime, like I know you guys, you got to work really hard, you got to make money and all that stuff, but make sure you're taking ample time to rest. Because when you're calm, when you come back to your work, you're going to be able to perform at a much higher level. Okay. So doing some kind of breath work, some type of meditation. If you need that, I have recordings I can share with you guys if you don't already have them. Now, I love this analogy because it's right specifically to diet. We cannot process dinner if our nervous system is still processing our lunch. So if we have trauma from the past, we haven't taken the time to process our grief, to process our shame, to process our anger, it's going to be running our lives. And we can't take in new information because our nervous system is so stimulated. We could have lots of like tension, and we can't move forwards until we calm that nervous system down, This is like arguably one of the most important things you're ever going to hear in your life if you haven't heard this before, because as you do this, you'll be able to heal in ways unimaginable. Okay. And specifically, the ability to heal from trauma comes down to our ability to heal the nervous system. Like I said, the future of health, healing, and medicine is our emotions and our nervous system. And the whole goal here is to get out of fight or flight mode. I've showed you guys this picture in past presentations, the emotional pain chart. So like different emotions show up in different parts of the body. Like I said, working with Dr. Doug DeSalvo, Leslie's chiropractor, he started to show me certain areas like, oh, well, this is showing up. And as I said before, your body is essentially a roadmap for what's going on in your mind. And that's where the nervous system connects the mind and the body. Okay. Now, specifically with the mind and the body, we have what's called the psychosomatic healing, the mind-body connection. Psycho is mind and somatic is body. So mind-body connection. I love this right here. The issues are in the tissues. Sounds kind of funny, but so true. The issues are in the tissues. It could be like in a rap song. Issues in the tissues, right? So our bodies are a mirror into what where we were holding on to emotional pain. The key thing here is to get curious about the causes to allow healing. This is what's called cause and effect. I want to be able to find a thread and keep pulling that thread until you get down to the root cause or core conflict. I teach this all the time in my life coaching and shadow work coaching practice. If there's a recurring thing, like you get triggered and you just keep going back to the same sabotaging behaviors. You get triggered, you go back to the same sabotaging behaviors. You have to figure out what is the real cause. The causes are what changes the effects. The key thing here is we must unlearn and relearn from our trauma, okay? It's actually our greatest healer, okay? Because once you get in there, you can actually begin to shift things. Often a hidden message is deep within our trauma that sets us free from those shackles of our past. Remember we said the road from the past, we're actually creating our future from it. And as we examine our wounds in shadow, we can choose to re-envision and reframe our meaning around suffering. This is where a new future can actually be created. Very crucial points here, okay? That's where you got to get curious. Specific emotions get stored within the body, and this can cause chronic disease. The chronic disease is created right here because of the elevated cortisol levels. Remember I said it weakens your immune system. Like I said, this is some of the most important stuff you could apply to your life right now, because if you have elevated cortisol levels, you're more susceptible to getting sick, okay? Now, we've also gone over this slide before too, so I'll just touch on it. Where are you being triggered? What meaning are you creating? I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. My feelings aren't valid. It could be an unconscious belief, and that belief creates an emotion. The emotions affect your nervous system and it creates a behavior. So you could be spiraling out of control in your life, or like you're eating foods that are totally sabotaging you getting the results that you want. That's why fasting is great, because it really calms your nervous system down and it makes you more conscious of where you could be unconsciously eating. Okay. So a lot of people, they get triggered, they go to the same old emotion, same old behavior, okay? So we got to slow ourselves down. That's why breath work and meditation are very crucial. Your nervous system's calmer. You go, what is the meaning? Like, where did that come from? Like, your shadow could be like back here, like my hand's in the shadow, and you have this belief, you're not worthy of love. And then you're like, what, shadow? What'd you say? And you have a conversation with it, and you begin to transmute it and heal it. And I could do like a whole hour-long presentation on this. So I'm just hitting you guys with this. If you want more information, please let me know. Or when you do your assessment, if you want to jump on a call with me and chat for a few minutes about this, I would love to support you with going a little bit deeper. Now let's go into Taoist philosophy for a couple minutes here. Now I only got into this in the last year, and it's absolutely changed my life as a coach because it relates perfectly to shadow work, right? We have this age-old symbol here, the yin and the yang, okay? So essentially, when we talk about shadow work, it's really about making our darkness conscious, okay? Making the unconscious conscious, some Jungian psychology here. So what happens is we actually go into the darkness, we acknowledge our pain, and that actually balances us out and creates what's called the middle way path. This is like in Tibetan Buddhist philosophy, the middle way path. I'm not a Tibetan Buddhist, but I love the way they express balancing out your mind and your body. Essentially, it's like balancing out the left and right hemispheres of your brain, balancing out your yin and your yang, your masculine and feminine, darkness and light. There's all kinds of ways, but it's about having a harmony between both sides of yourself, right? If you have an imbalance, that's where you're going to get sick, okay? Now, here's probably the coolest thing I'm going to share with you guys today. And I actually had Leslie do a questionnaire over the weekend. I'm doing a session with her on this to go a little bit deeper, where you can study what's called the power of the 5 elements. I'll skip ahead for a second. It comes from this book, The Power of the 5 Elements. One of the best books I've ever read on healing. This book is like phenomenal. I highly recommend it. Yes, I'll send you guys a book list. But basically this doctor started realizing there's all this ancient wisdom that people could be using to heal themselves. And so I could literally do an hour-long presentation just on this slide right here. Okay, but we'll touch on this briefly. So it's like, what does this all mean? So there's these 5 elements. Each of the elements you see is related to different organs of the body: your kidneys, your liver, your heart, your stomach, and your lungs. Okay, and there's yin and yang versions of these two. Okay, so like for me, I'm a dominant wood element, and my secondary element is water. If you want to do the questionnaire, just let me know. I can send you the questionnaire, and you can figure out what your dominant and secondary elements are too. Now, what happens is you can start to look at the imbalances in your life. Like, are you having some heart problems? Well, maybe you're overactive kidneys, or maybe adrenal glands. And each of these elements is associated with different emotions as well. Like water has to do with fear, wood has to do with anger, fire has to do with joy or lack thereof, earth has to do with anxiety, metal has to do, your lungs have to do with grief. Okay, so if you sort of remember, this relates to shadow work, because if you're repressing a certain emotion like fear, that fear could be feeding the fire and causing you to have heart problems. Okay, like for me, if I have too much anger, I'm going to be feeding too much fire. That can cause heart problems too. So the whole goal here is, like I said, I could talk about this for much longer. It goes much deeper. Just kind of hitting you guys with this. But you figure out what your dominant element is, and you can realize your strengths and your weaknesses. So in me doing that, I realized, being the wood element, I have to be very careful with anger. You figure out if, like, oh, like, you be careful with your anxiety if you're an earth element. And a specific thing, that one of the most powerful things I learned from studying this Taoist philosophy is that people who are really struggling with their diet, I never thought about this before, is it's actually, we all have these 5 elements within us. We just have, some are more dominant than others. The earth element, people are constantly eating, they don't feel grounded in their body. So they're using food as a false means of grounding and connecting with the earth. I was like, whoa, I never thought about that. So you could have trauma or some other emotion that's affecting you in one of these other elements, and it could be causing, the effect is showing up within your stomach, and you're not inability to digest certain foods. And like I said, I could go talk all day about this, but I'm going to show you this other slide here. And I actually have another recorded presentation if anybody wants to watch that too, where I go much deeper into all these concepts. But you can see there's a yin and yang organ. They're all associated with these different elements, okay? Different seasons, okay? Different senses too. Like, you're struggling with your eyes a little bit, it could be your wood dominant element, and you need to be more careful with what's going on in your liver, okay? You could be struggling with anger. There's different tastes, different weather associated with each of these. And so, like I said, kidneys has to do with like your hearing, right? So you can start to look and see where you have an imbalance in the yin or the yang organ. One of my actual personal doctor, Dr. Shiroko Sokic, she lives up in Santa Rosa, or works up in Santa Rosa. She introduced me to all this stuff years ago. I was like, this stuff's weird. This doesn't make sense. But the more I got into it, it blew my mind how essential this is to teaching people how to become their own healer. Okay. Like I said, I could talk all day about this, but let's keep rocking. So how to apply these tools: trauma, shadow work, and Taoist philosophy. I said it before, I'll say it again. Identify triggers and the meaning and what's causing you to sabotage yourself. Okay. Get down to the root cause. Acknowledge emotions. you are acknowledge the emotions you are suppressing, repressing, and denying. It's like, oh, for me, I thought I had anger, but it was really fear. When I got into the fear, I was like, oh, there's this abandonment. And that actually allowed me to heal a lot tremendously. What disease or health effects are currently showing up, and what's the cause? Use breath work, meditations, or other methods to calm your nervous system. When your nervous system's calm, you'll be able to show up and perform better. Journal or write down what's showing up and see how this could be affecting your diet and causing you to unconsciously eat a certain way. Have fun on this journey and reach out to me if you'd like to learn more about any of these concepts. Now let's go into some dietary stuff. I've said it many times in past presentations, but I want to touch on it briefly. Diet in Latin is dieta. It means way of life. So we must change the meaning. Like some people are like, I hate diets, like because they have a meaning around the word diet. I've actually worked with some people with your company who are like, I don't like diets. Well, it's like, you don't like your way of life. And like, that's one of the things about being a coach. I have to be brutally honest with people. So this is actually where a lot of eating disorders arise from, because their meaning they have around the word diet. The key point, like I said, is what's triggering us. Could it be friends, family, coworkers, the news? Who/what is triggering our emotions? Because logic doesn't change things, emotions do. And emotions actually have a measurable frequency, okay? You can look at this scale right here. This comes from, like I said, I'm showing off all kinds of books. Joe Dispenza's book, Becoming Supernatural. If you're feeding these lower vibrational emotions, that's where you're going to get sick, shame, suffering, victimization, pain. Or you could be operating from these higher vibrational emotions, love, joy, appreciation. Like every day I wake up, I'm like, what can I be grateful for in my life? What can I appreciate? Much higher vibrational frequency. Emotions are energy in motion, and all energy is frequency, and all frequency carries information. Based on our personal thoughts and feelings, we're always sending and receiving information. So this is why when our nervous system's calm, we can move up the scale. When we're too much in fight or flight mode, we're going to feel like a victim. We're going to suffer. All right, enough with emotions. Let's talk more about the diet challenge details. We got 4 minutes left here. I might be a minute or two late, but we're going to get through this. I'm going to send you details of everything I'm about to share with you guys, so that you don't like memorize this. But time to change your way of life. High five. Boom. So go over the details real quick. Same as last time. Join the challenge, and here's how it's going down. Whoa. Muted. You've been muted. You've been silenced. 6-week challenge starting this week. Contact me to do your first assessment. And when you do your assessment, if you want to learn any more about some of the stuff that I've shared today, I'd love to share it with you. Final assessments begins March 7th and ends March 11th. Weekly check-ins. Let me know if you'd like a weekly check-in. There'll be $100 put in the pot for each sign-up. The pot is shared with everyone who loses 5% of their body weight. Example, 250 pounds, you must lose 12.5 pounds. The more signups, the bigger the pot. So let's all smoke some pot together. I'm just kidding. Let's all join the pot and make it bigger. All right. So sign up to help to support the tribe and lose some pounds to kick off 2022. 4 different ways of doing fasting. So we have the 16-8 method, the 5-2 method, the warrior method, and the alternate day method. We've gone over this before. Like I said, I'm going to send you a document with all these details, okay? Find the way of life that works best for you. 16-8 involves fasting every day for about 16 hours and eating 8 hours a day. You generally can fit in 2 to 3 smaller meals. Basically, skip breakfast and don't eat after dinner. 10 to 6 is your eating window, but you can adjust that to whatever works for you. The 5-2 involves cutting back your eating to 2 days a week to 500 to 600 calories a day. Eat normally all other days, and generally eating 2 small meals on fasting days. The weekend warrior alternate day method. The warrior method involves eating only small meals of fruits and vegetables during the day and 1 huge meal at dinner. A lot of people have great success with that one, actually. The alternate day method involves fasting every other day. You eat normally one day, and then the next day you cut back to 500 calories a day. Side note, even if you're not trying to lose weight, picking one of these diets will help you to get lean for 6 weeks, and then you can start bulking up again. I know some of you guys are hard gainers. I know, Gio, you're on here. I know you want to lose some weight and then gain it back. All right, so what do I eat? KISS principle, baby. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, silly. Nuts, berries, fruits, vegetables. It should be your foundation, always. It's like, go back to the hunter-gatherer days. Nuts, berries, fruits, and vegetables. That is the foundation. More veggies, the better. More colors, the better. Focus on good fats. Avocado. Yeah, Gio, I see you smiling. Focus on good fats, avocado, fish, nuts. This helps your brain function. I've gone on strict diets, right? I didn't get enough good fat, and I was like, dude, what's going on? You can't even think straight. High quality meats, no mystery meat, guys. I always say that in our presentations. No mystery meat. What isn't that bologna? I don't even know. So I recommend less red meat as well. I stick to fish and chicken or turkey personally. Drink more water to keep you from craving food and increase hydration. Limit caffeine. Switch to green tea or yerba mate instead of coffee. Eliminate processed foods, fried food, and shop the perimeter of the grocery store. cut or limit the white stuff. Get off the cocaine, guys. No, bread, pasta, potatoes, and rice. Okay, that's stuff. It's really just a filler. When I'm on a strict diet, I'll do like a little bit of rice, if I'm doing like a bunch of veggies with some like curry sauce or something, just to soak up some of the sauce, but really do your best to limit those high glycemic carbohydrates. Right on time, 12:30. I love it. So join the challenge, contact me for support. If you want to learn more about any of the other stuff that I shared at the beginning of the presentation, please let me know. I love talking about it. It's freaking amazing. Okay. Sign up for the diet challenge and I look forward to guiding you. Check me out on Instagram and TikTok. I do funny videos on my Instagram and TikTok. So check me out, Odie1Kenobi21. My phone number, you can text me. My new website, odysseymentorship.com. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will email everyone who joins. And I just saw this awesome movie that talks about a lot of this blended Eastern and Western medicine philosophy called Heal on Amazon Prime. Check it out. And bada bing, bada boom. We got it done right at 12:30. Oh my God, I feel like a gangster. Ugh. Thank you for everybody who's tuning in later to watch this. You are all fantastic and enjoy the diet challenge.